So, we now come to a very important part of this evening's ceremony. This year, the co-chairs of the judging panel have chosen to bestow upon an individual the highest honour of the industry, the Lifetime Achievement Award. To tell you more and to introduce this year's Lifetime Achievement recipient, please welcome a co-chair of the judging panel and industry veteran himself, Mr. Peter Ricks.
Good evening, everyone. I might stop here and just for a minute acknowledge what an extraordinary night this is to get this together. Whoever is in a technical position or the front of house or whatever, I think we all deserve to give them all, wherever they might be, a round of applause. How brave are they? So, I am delighted to have the opportunity to present this year's Distinguished Services Award, and if I may at the same time acknowledge and express my regard and admiration for all of you as we try to find a way to keep both our oars in the water and find a way both to find a cure and also to return those venues to 100% capacity. Never in my working life did I ever think that we would face the days that we are at the moment, and I hope very much that they finish very soon. However, that little line is a nice segue into this presentation. If ever there was an example of a human being who has ridden the roller coaster ride of life in live performance, it is this year's recipient. When you start your working life in the publicity and promotions department at Myers in Brisbane and then head off into shopping centre management, it is a very long bow to draw to where this bloke is today. We met in the early 70s when he had decided, no doubt to his parents' horror, that he would join the entertainment business, as it was known in those days, after a very short stint at 4IP. In those days, for my sins, I managed Hush, my friend Roger Davies managed Sherbet, and Michael Gudinski managed Skyhooks, and we had all benefited from the popularity of Countdown. And this meant we could tour regionally around Australia constantly to full houses. Enter our recipient with his mate Rod, a van full of posters and glue and a cash tin, and they became Queensland's premier rock promoters. It was the 70s, ladies and gentlemen, and there weren't a lot of rules. Then there were nightclubs, a booking agency, a lot of late nights, but he was a bloke you could trust to have it completely together. Honest, reliable, and incredibly creative when it came to marketing these shows from those bands that we all were very fond of in those days. So from those early days, our recipient commenced to manage the Brisbane Entertainment Centre, and this was the mid-80s. And somehow through grit, hard work and determination, he built that first venue into a national organisation still managed out of Brisbane, but with venues in every capital city in Australia. It finally became a global network when they merged with AEG Facilities, and from there, with entrepreneurial zeal and vision, together they built a global network of venues that now stretches through 5 continents. Think the Staples Centre in Los Angeles, the O2 Arena in London, Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane, the ICC in Sydney, and many, many others. This is a serious player in the global world of venues and the promotion of all forms of sport, the arts, conventions, exhibitions, concerts, and any other form of general entertainment that you're likely to think of. His wealth of knowledge and practical experience in the setup, design and operation of these major public assembly facilities has been the hallmark of the majority of his working life. The orchestration of this work by him and his staff will be his legacy. He always has a new idea, always looking for the end of the rainbow, and has one of the world's best telephone books. I've always been envious. We have known each other from the beginning, and I love the fact that despite every idea and every mad road he's travelled down, music has always been in his blood and is the mainstay of his business. A very proud Queenslander, 40 years married to the wonderful Margaret, 4 grown-up children, 4 grandchildren. How he has ever kept it together is a wonder and a miracle. I am very proud to introduce the recipient of this year's Australian Event Industry Lifetime Achievement Award, to the very, very lovely Harvey Lister, up in Brisbane.
Thank you. Wow, Rixie, thank you. Well, I'm absolutely humbled by this award, and you know, I really loved sitting here tonight looking at all of those nominees from right across the country with all of your events. I was very proud that a whole lot of them were in our venues, which is fantastic as well, because we love to bring our magic to your magic. And so I think tonight's been really special. I'm not going to let the night pass without recognising the tough time that our industry's been in. And we're going to get through this, but there's a lot of people who are doing it really tough. A lot of casual staff and front of house and back of house people and production and contractors and food and beverage. There's a lot of people whose lives have been turned upside down by what's happened with COVID-19. There's no plans for this. Nobody knew what could happen, and still we don't know quite where it's going, but we're starting to see some green shoots in our business. We're back in sport in the stadiums. We had 37,500 at Suncorp Stadium last weekend for the Melbourne Storm Penrith game, and across the stadiums we're involved in this country since we're coming back, we're nearly at 1 million paid customers through this COVID-19 period. So now we're looking for that to happen in convention exhibition centres and also to happen in our major concert arenas, although we do think that international concert business is probably going to be a bit longer before that comes back, and that opens some fantastic opportunities for some great Australian acts. So watch this space. There's some major announcements to happen pretty soon. I tell the young people who work for us that there is nothing like seeing something live. You know, the punters who buy tickets to go to events or to go to a conference have a chance of seeing something really special every single time they attend. That conference where the speaker stood up and announced that overnight he and his cohorts in Denmark, I think it was, had discovered the God particle. That concert event with Bruce Springsteen dragging Lady Gaga up from the front row and the pair of them doing knee slides across the stage. That pass from Darren Lockyer. You see, every event, whether it's a convention or whether it's a theatre production or a live concert, gives an opportunity for the punters to see something that's really special. And that's what makes our industry work. But you know, we're all in the planning business. And I love the story from the great heavyweight boxer Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was being asked about how he planned for a world title fight. And Tyson says, well, I do plan. He said, plans are great until the other bloke smacks you in the face. And then you have to adjust. Well, that's what we do. We plan, you plan events to within an inch of your life. And then we plan for what happens when the unexpected happens. And there wouldn't be a person in this room or the other 4 rooms in the country at the moment who won't have their own war stories about all the things that have happened at their events. So here in Australia, I think we do it pretty well. These days, we're part of a family of 325 venues around the world. We get to see the very best events that are put together, and we see the very best planners who put them together. And I haven't seen anything yet that competes on a regular scale with what we do in this country. So Australia, you have plenty to be proud of. Thank you. I want to dedicate this this award to a few people. Firstly, those people who helped us when we started our business. Peter Ricks was one of them. Australian music icons, Roger Davies, Harley Metcalf, Michael Gudinski, Michael Chugg, Jeff Jones, Paul Dainty, Dennis Haddon. We've all been mates in this business for nearly 50 years. Wow, and we're all still alive, and we're all still going strong, and including Peter Ricks, which is really special. I also want to dedicate this to the team of people that work with me, my long-term co-director and good friend, Rod Pilbeam, to all of those staff who work with us in so many venues. Some have been with us for more than 25 years. They're the ones who make the magic happen, and they're the ones who make us look as though we know what we're doing. And to them, I say thank you. I also want to dedicate this to my wife, Margie, and to our kids, because, thank you, because it's our wedding anniversary next month, 40 years. How patient have they been while I've done the miles and worked those ridiculous hours that all of you work as well, and we all do need to reflect on how we need that support to get through things. And finally, I want to say thank you to the Australian Event Awards for having a crack. I mean, this is really what our business is about. And I agree with what Peter Ricks said. How brave to take this on tonight. What a great job they've done with it. So short speeches are good speeches. I'm off. Thank you. Goodbye.